Dust clings to your throat like chalk. The Sicilian sun is still a rumor behind the ridge, but the heat already shimmers off the M1 Bazooka tubes stacked in the 16th Infantry Regiment's supply dump. Privates kick the aluminum barrels with their boots. Stovepipe, they sneer. 2 feet of pipe and a prayer. Private First Class John Chapulk, 21, Pittsburgh steelworker, hands still calloused from Bethlehem steel, lifts one of the launchers anyway. The thing weighs less than his mother's sewing machine. Inside the tube, a 2.36-inch M6 rocket shaped like a silver cigar, barely heavier than a mortar round. Sergeant Malone spits tobacco and laughs. "Kid, that pop gun couldn't dent a Volkswagen." Up the slope, a distant rumble, not thunder, tiger. The 88mm muzzle flashes twice, orange blossoms in the dawn. A Sherman 200 yards left erupts, turret spinning skyward like a coin toss. Men scream, the joke dies in Malone's throat. Chapulk shoulders the stovepipe anyway. No one's watching. Everyone's running. The ridge is a furnace. Heat ripples off the Tiger's Zimmerit-coated hull as it crests the olive grove. 56 tons of Krupp steel grinding forward like a moving fortress. Oberleutnant Heinrich Müller stands in the cupola, binoculars to his eyes, scanning for the next Sherman to gut. His crew calls the tank Lova 204. They've killed 8 already this morning. Below, the 16th Infantry is pinned. Foxholes pock the terraced slope like bullet holes in paper. Chapulk crouches in a drainage ditch, bazooka across his knees. Loader Private Eddie Pee Wee Kowalski, 19, Brooklyn, still smells of sea rations, stuffing the second rocket with shaking fingers. 30 yards, Chapulk whispers. The Tiger's tracks chew stone, exhaust belches black. Mueller's voice crackles over the intercom. "Panzer vorwärts, Ziel links, Sherman, 400 Meter." Kowalski's eyes are saucers. "We're dead, John. That thing's got skin like a battleship." Chapulk thumbs the safety. The rocket's warhead glints. 3.5 pounds of high explosive, shape charge, enough to punch through 4 inches of steel. The Tiger's rear deck, barely 2. The monster turns broadside, presenting its flank to the ridge, searching, hunting. The Tiger's engine roars like a steel dragon. Mueller's head swivels, hunting. The cupola hatch is open. He wants to see the kill himself. Chapulk rises from the ditch, knees in the dust. No cover, 30 yards. The bazooka's wire stock bites into his shoulder. Kowalski slams the rocket home, tail fins clicking. Battery armed. "John, you're crazy!" Chapulk's swirled narrows to the rear grille. A rectangle of slated steel, exhaust heat warping the air above it. He remembers the manual. Aim for engine compartment. Avoid tracks. He exhales. Finger squeezes. Whoosh! The rocket leaps, a silver blur trailing fire. 1 second. 2. It punches the grill dead center, a flash. Then the world turns orange. The explosion is a thunderclap inside a tin can. The shaped charge jets molten copper through the Tiger's engine block at 5,000 feet per second. Fuel lines rupture. Ammunition cooks. Lova 204 lurches. A gout of flame erupts from the rear like a dragon's death rattle. Black smoke billows, thick as oil. Müller is hurled from the cupola, uniform ablaze, screaming as he hits the dirt. The driver, Gefreiter Klaus Richter, claws at the hatch, but the turret traverses wildly, 88mm barrel whipping like a club. Inside, the crew compartment becomes an oven. 4 men burn alive. Chapulk stands frozen, Bazooka still smoking. Kowalski tugs his sleeve. "John, it's dead. You killed it." From the ridge, a cheer rises, ragged, disbelieving. GIs pop from foxholes like prairie dogs. A lieutenant blows his whistle. "Fix bayonets! Move!" The tiger belches a final plume of fire and dies, hull cracked open like a roasted chestnut. But the ridge isn't empty. Another rumble echoes from the olive trees. A second tiger. The second tiger never makes the ridge. Word of Chapulk's kill races through the 16th Infantry faster than the smoke clears. Men who mocked the stovepipe now beg for one. Ordnance sergeants pry open crates marked experimental and hand out M1s like communion wafers. By dusk, Troina is American. The town's whitewashed walls glow under flares. Chapulk sits on an ammo box, face blackened, bazooka across his lap like a violin. A war correspondent from Stars and Stripes shoves a notepad under his nose. "How'd you know the rear was weak, kid?" Chapulk shrugs. "Steel mill back home. Always hit the soft spot." General Lucien Truscott himself pins a silver star to Chapulk's sweat-soaked shirt the next morning. Photographers' bulbs pop. The caption will read, "One man, one shot, one dead tiger." But in the supply tents, something else is happening. Crates stamped M1A1 arrive. Longer tubes, better rockets, 5-pound warheads. The stovepipe is growing teeth. And somewhere in a Berlin map room, a staff officer draws a red circle around Sicily. Bazooka is scrawled in the margin.
June 6, 1944, Omaha Beach, Dog Green Sector, 0730 hours. The tide runs red. A tiger from the 352nd Panzer Detachment noses through the smoke, 88 millimeters barking. Then a rocket arcs from the shingle. Boom, engine fire. The monster slews sideways, blocking the draw. GIs pour through the gap. The shooter? A corporal who read about Chapulk in Yank magazine. July 25, Operation Cobra, Saint-Lô. A hedgerow explodes as a bazooka team from the 2nd Armored ambushes a panther at 20 yards. Rear grill again. The kill becomes doctrine. Get close, get behind, let the rocket do the rest. December 16th, Ardennes. A freezing fog cloaks the Losheim Gap. PFC Francis Curry, 120th Infantry, carries 3 bazookas into a barn. 3 tigers roll past. 3 shots, 3 kills. Curry earns the Medal of Honor. In his pocket, a creased photo of Chapulk's tiger, clipped from a newspaper. By spring 1945, every GI squad has a bazooka man. Production hits 40,000 launchers a month at General Electric. The M9 replaces the M1, collapsible, 90mm rocket, 8 inches of penetration. Tigers become moving coffins. April 12, Remagen Bridge. A king tiger guards the east bank. A lone sergeant crawls through rubble, fires upward into the belly plate. The bridge stays American. In a Pittsburgh bar, John Chapulk, now sergeant home on rotation, watches newsreels of burning panzers. The bartender pours him a beer. "That's your trick, John?" Chapulk just smiles. One shot in Sicily started it all. But the war isn't over, and the bazooka is about to face its toughest test yet, the concrete dragons of the Siegfried Line. Rain needles down like shrapnel. The west wall looms. Dragon's teeth, pillboxes, minefields stitched together by barbed wire. Somewhere behind the concrete, a Tiger I from Schwere Panzerabteilung 506 idles, engine growling low. Sergeant Vincent Moretti, 1st Infantry Division hugs the muddy lip of a crater. In his hands, the new M9 Bazooka, collapsible tube extended like a telescope. Loader Corporal Ray Delgado feeds a 90mm M6A3 rocket, its warhead glowing faintly under a poncho. Range, Moretti whispers. 40 yards tops, hisses Delgado. Through that drainage culvert, rear shot again. The Tiger's commander, Lieutenant Kurt Brauman, scans with infrared. He's heard the rumors, American Panzerfaust. He laughs, let them come. Moretti crawls, mud sucks at his boots. The culvert stinks of diesel and death. 30 yards, 20. The Tiger pivots, tracks screech. Brauman spots movement, fire. But Moretti is already up, knee in the muck, tube to shoulder. Whoosh! The rocket streaks under the belly, punches the thin floor plate, detonation. The Tiger leaps 6 inches, comes down wrong, turret jams, crew bails into machine gun fire. One breach, one hole in the dragon's teeth.
Berlin is a furnace of rubble and smoke. Red Army T-34s grind west. American columns halt at the Elbe, watching the city die. But one last pocket of steel holds the Tiergarten, 3 King Tigers of Schwerpanzerjäger Abteilung 512, hole down behind the Brandenburg Gates ruins. Staff Sergeant John Shepelk, 30 missions, 2 Purple Hearts, 1 Silver Star, is attached to the 82nd Airborne as a liaison. He carries the M9A1 Super Bazooka now. Aluminum magnesium alloy, 3.5-pound rocket, 12 inches of penetration. A far cry from the stovepipe he first fired in Sicily. His loader, technician 5th grade Rosa Perez, WAC volunteer, Detroit Assembly Line, slaps the final round home. End of the line, Sarge. The lead King Tiger, 88mm KWK-43 Snarling, edges forward, crushing a tram car like tin. Its commander, Oberleutnant Hans Becker, wants one last propaganda photo, the Reichstag behind him intact. Chepelk kneels in a shell crater once called Pariser Platz, 50 yards. The King Tiger's rear deck is hidden by rubble. No shot. Becker spots the glint of a launcher, Maschinengewehr. Tracers stitch the air. Perez dives. Chepelk rolls, tube still shouldered. The King Tiger advances, crushing bodies and history. 40 yards, 30. Chepelk rises, not the rear, the side. The rocket needs a clean 90-degree hit on the turret ring. He fires. The rocket arcs, kisses the base of the long barrel, secondary detonation. The turret blows skyward, lands upside down like a crown in the dust. The remaining 2 King Tigers reverse into the smoke. Berlin falls silent. Chepelk lowers the empty tube. Perez hands him his cigarette. Still a stovepipe, Sarge? He exhales smoke toward the burning Reichstag. Nah, it's a dragon slayer now. VE Day, Times Square erupts in confetti and kisses. In a quiet Pittsburgh row house, John Chepelk sits at his mother's kitchen table, uniform unbuttoned, Silver Star in a cigar box. The radio crackles, Germany surrenders. He stares at the bazooka tube leaning in the corner, war souvenir, dented, scorched. The stovepipe that once drew laughs now hangs in the Smithsonian. Serial number M100147, the one that killed Love 204 outside Troina. Cut to 1950, Korean Ridges. Marines freeze at Chosin, but M20 Super Bazookas, 3.5-pound rockets, offspring of Chepelk's shot, gut T-34s borrowed from Moscow scrapyards. Aishu Valley. A young lieutenant reads a dog-eared copy of Yank magazine, the Troina story circled in red. He shoulders an M72 LAW, light anti-tank weapon, disposable descendant of the stovepipe, and knocks out a PT-76. Desert Storm. Abrams crews laugh at the old M9s in museums until a Bradley gunner uses a Tau missile, great-grandchild of shaped charge theory, to brew up an Iraqi T-72 at 2 miles. A drone feed from a classroom screen, Ukrainian volunteers fire NLAWs into the flanks of Russian armor. The instructor pauses the video. Notice the angle, same principle. Sicily, 1943. The stovepipe never died. It just learned to fly. The parade snakes down Liberty Avenue. Brass bands blast, kids wave flags. An old man in a wheelchair, 99 years young, Steelers cap tilted, grips a polished aluminum tube like a cane. The crowd parts. A little girl in pigtails stares. "What's that, Grandpa?" John Chepelk smiles, teeth still his own. "This? Just a stovepipe." Behind him, a float carries a restored M4 Sherman. On its hull, stenciled in fresh white, Trowena Tiger Killer, PFC J. Chepelk, 16th Inf. A drone camera swoops low. The feed hits YouTube. Title, "The 99-year-old who killed a tiger with a pipe." Views climb. He's done 100 interviews, but today he just wants the pierogi stand. A reporter shoves a mic. "Sir, any regrets?" Chepelk looks at the tube. Remembers Mueller burning. Kowalski, dead at the bulge. Perez, gone to cancer in '88. Regret? He taps the bazooka. Only that it took so long for the world to stop laughing. The band strikes Stars and Stripes. Chepelk salutes with the empty launcher. The crowd roars. Fade on the old man's eyes, steel mill sharp, still seeing that Sicilian ridge, still hearing the whoosh that changed everything.